HOA Karen told me to leave my own pool, so I drained it in front of her guests. I'm out back skimming leaves from my pool on a peaceful Sunday morning when I hear the gate slam. This woman in a bright yellow safety vest storms into my yard, carrying a megaphone and clipboard like she's running a disaster response operation. Pool's closed. HOA emergency meeting in progress, she announces through the megaphone, even though she's standing 3 feet from me. I drop my skimmer net. Ma'am, this is my private pool in my private backyard. Not anymore, she declares, adjusting her vest importantly. I'm Linda Patan, newly elected HOA president. Your pool has been designated as the Community Emergency Water Reserve under California Drought Protocol 15C. I stare at her. That's not a thing. She waves a laminated paper in my face. All private pools exceeding 500 grams must be made available for community emergency use during Level 3 water restrictions. It's the law. Behind her, people start filing into my yard. A guy in a reflective vest is unreeling a hose toward my pool. 2 women are setting up folding chairs on my patio. Someone's wheeling in a cooler. This is insane, I mutter, but Linda's already blown her whistle. Emergency water collection team, begin operations, she shouts. My neighbor Jim pokes his head over the fence. Dude, why are there people with buckets in your pool? Apparently, it's the community emergency water supply now, I say, watching a teenager fill up gallon jugs. Linda marches over with her clipboard. Sir, I need you to step away from the water reserve. Civilian contamination is a health hazard. That's when I noticed she zip-tied a massive sign to my fence. Emergency water supply, authorized personnel only, no swimming, $500 fine for contamination. You put a sign on my fence? I ask. HOA emergency powers, she says smugly. During crisis situations, private property can be temporarily requisitioned for community welfare. The guy with the hose starts pumping water into plastic barrels. How much do we need? He calls out. Fill everything, Linda responds. We're preparing for the worst-case scenario. I pull out my phone and dial the fire department. Hi, this is weird, but did you guys designate my pool as some kind of emergency water reserve? The dispatcher sounds confused. No, sir. We have our own water trucks and hydrants. Private pools aren't part of our emergency protocol. I hang up and turn to Linda with a smile. Funny thing about emergency water reserves, she's busy directing traffic as more people arrive with containers. Someone's even backing a pickup truck into my driveway. They need to be tested for contamination first, I announce loudly. Linda spins around. What? Emergency protocol? I say, walking casually toward my pool equipment shed. Can't distribute potentially contaminated water during a health crisis. Basic safety. The water's fine, she protests. I should probably call the health department to verify this operation is legal, I say, while her confident expression wavers. That's not necessary. Oh, but it is, I say, opening the shed door. See, if you're claiming emergency authority to seize my pool, then you're also liable for any health violations. The crowd starts murmuring uncertainly. The guy with the hose stops pumping. Plus, I continue, reaching for the main drain valve. Contaminated emergency supplies need immediate quarantine and disposal. Linda's eyes go wide as she realizes what I'm doing. You can't drain the reserve. Emergency contamination protocol. I shrug, turning the valve. Better safe than sorry. The satisfying whoosh of 15,000 gallons begins flowing toward the storm drain. Linda's emergency team watches in horror as their water reserve disappears. This is destruction of community property, Linda shrieks. Actually, I say, pulling up the county records on my phone. This is destruction of my property, which, fun fact, I'm legally allowed to do. Jim starts laughing from his side of the fence. Dude, you're savage. Within 10 minutes, my pool is empty, and Linda's emergency operation is standing around a concrete hole looking ridiculous. You'll be hearing from the HOA board, Linda threatens, packing up her megaphone. The city water bill arrives, and I actually laugh at first because it has to be a mistake. $6,847 for last month. I call immediately. There must be an error. I drained my pool once. The clerk goes quiet, typing. Ma'am, our records show your meter registered 400,000 gallons of usage last week. That's impossible. Someone's been running your water non-stop for 6 days straight. My blood goes cold. I sprint to my backyard and find my pool filling itself automatically. Someone rewired my fill valve to run continuously and welded it open. The pool's overflowing, flooding my whole yard. I try the shutoff valve, but it's been sealed with industrial epoxy. Then I see Linda's security camera pointed directly at my pool, recording everything. I grab my phone and start recording the setup. The camera angle is perfect to capture whoever did this, but it's also positioned to watch my backyard 24/7. I walk around my fence line and count 3 more cameras, all pointed at my property, all installed within the last week based on the fresh screw marks. The water is ankle-deep in my yard now, pouring over into Jim's property. He comes running out. What the hell happened? Someone sabotaged my fill valve. I need to shut off the main water line to my house. Jim helps me locate the street shutoff while I'm on hold with the water company. 20 minutes later, a city worker arrives. He takes one look at the valve and whistles. This is criminal. Someone welded this open intentionally. You need to file a police report. The cop who shows up is Officer Brennan. Young guy, maybe late 20s. He photographs everything. The welded valve, the epoxy, the flooding. Then I show him Linda's cameras. When were these installed? Last week, right after I drained my pool during her fake emergency water reserve stunt. He writes that down. And this overflow has been running for 6 days, according to the water company. Officer Brennan does some quick math on his notepad. At standard flow rate, that's about right for the usage they recorded. Ma'am, you're looking at felony vandalism and water theft. This is going to be expensive. I've already got a $6,847 water bill. That's nothing. Your foundation could be compromised. Your neighbor's property is damaged. This could be $50,000 easy. I take photos of everything while Officer Brennan goes to talk to Linda. I can see them through her front window. She's shaking her head, pointing at papers, getting animated. He comes back 20 minutes later. She claims she has no knowledge of any sabotage, says her cameras are for HOA security purposes monitoring community violations. But her cameras are pointed at my private property. She says she's documenting unpermitted pool construction and water waste violations. My pool has been here for 8 years. It's fully permitted. Officer Brennan nods. I'm getting a warrant for her camera footage. If someone accessed your yard, those cameras will show it. 2 days later, I get a call. The footage mysteriously corrupted for the exact time period when the valve was tampered with. But the timestamps show someone manually stopped the recording for 4 hours, then restarted it. Linda claims it was a technical malfunction. Of course she does. My lawyer is a woman named Iris Kowalski. She's about 50 with gray hair and the kind of face that says she's seen every trick. She reviews everything I've brought. The police report, the water bill, photos of the damage, Linda's fake emergency water reserve documents. This is harassment, she says. Clear cut. We're filing a restraining order and a civil suit for damages. How much are we talking? Between the water bill, foundation inspection, yard restoration, and your neighbor's property damage? I'd estimate $35,000, plus legal fees. I feel sick. I don't have that kind of money. That's what insurance is for. But we're also suing Linda personally and the HOA. Someone has to pay. The HOA meeting is 3 days later. Linda didn't tell anyone I'd be there. She's standing at the front of the room in her community center with her clipboard and vest. About 40 residents are scattered in folding chairs. First order of business, Linda announces. We need to discuss the water waste violation at 1247 Oakmont Drive. That's my address. I stand up. Actually, first order of business is your illegal surveillance and property destruction. The room goes silent. Linda's face flushes. You're not authorized to speak. I'm a homeowner. I have every right to address this board. I walk to the front and connect my laptop to the projector. Linda tries to block me, but the board secretary, an elderly man named Eugene, waves her off. Let him speak. I pull up the photos. My flooded yard, the welded valve, the water bill. Then I show the police report documenting Linda's camera system pointed at my property. Linda claimed she could seize my pool under emergency powers that don't exist. When I drained it to prevent that, someone sabotaged my property, causing $35,000 in damages. Linda's cameras caught nothing because the footage was conveniently corrupted. People start murmuring. A woman in the third row raises her hand. Linda told us you were wasting water during a drought. I drained my pool once. Someone made it refill continuously for 6 days. That's not waste. That's sabotage. Eugene looks at Linda. Is this true? That pool is a community hazard, Linda snaps. It violates water restriction codes. I pull up the county website. There are no mandatory water restrictions in our area. Linda made that up. The room erupts. People are shouting questions. Linda's trying to talk over everyone. Eugene bangs his gavel. Meeting adjourned. Linda, my office. Now. I leave with a dozen residents wanting to talk. Turns out Linda's been making up violations for months. Fining people for lawn length that was within code. Threatening to tow cars parked legally. Charging fees for pool inspections that weren't required. Jim finds me in the parking lot. Dude, she tried to tell me I needed a permit to repaint my own house. How much did she charge? $350 for the application. Another $200 for the inspection. Did you pay? Yeah, didn't know I could refuse. I take his information. Iris is going to have a field day. The foundation inspection comes back worse than expected. The constant water flow undermined the southeast corner. I need $12,000 in repairs, or my house could shift. Jim's yard needs $3,000 in drainage work and new sod. Insurance covers some of it, but I'm still out $8,000 after the deductible. I file an expanded lawsuit. Linda fires back with a countersuit claiming I violated HOA bylaws by draining the pool without permission. She wants $15,000 in damages for disrupting her emergency response operation. Iris laughs when she reads it. This woman is delusional. No court will take this seriously, but we still have to respond, which means more legal fees. I'm walking to my car after a grocery run when Linda appears. She's not wearing her vest, looks smaller somehow, almost human. We need to talk, she says, through our lawyers. Please, just 5 minutes. I check my phone's recording app is running and lean against my car. You've got 3. This got out of hand, Linda says. I was trying to help the community by surveilling my property and sabotaging my pool. I didn't do that. Someone on the emergency response team must have taken initiative. You picked the team. You pointed them at my house. Linda looks at the ground. The HOA board removed me as president. Eugene's filing a complaint with the state about my conduct. Good. I've lost my job too. I was working part-time at the community center. They don't want me there anymore. I wait for the guilt to come. It doesn't. You know what my last water bill was? $6,847. My foundation repairs are $12,000. Jim's yard is $3,000. You humiliated me in front of my neighbors, then destroyed my property. And you want sympathy? I just want this to end, Linda says. Her voice cracks. I'll drop the countersuit. We can settle. Talk to my lawyer. I drive away while she's still standing in the parking lot. At home, I find another letter from Linda's attorney. They're offering $10,000 to settle everything and go away. Iris calls me that evening. This is insulting. Your actual damages are $35,000. Can we prove Linda did it? Not directly, but her team did it under her direction. That's liability. What if we can't collect? What if she declares bankruptcy? Then we go after the HOA insurance. They covered her actions as president. I tell Iris to reject the offer. The preliminary hearing is set for 6 weeks out. In the meantime, Linda's emergency response team members start getting subpoenaed. A guy named Foster Kimball is the one who was running the hose. Iris deposes him with me present. Did Linda Piton direct you to fill containers from the pool? Yes, ma'am. Did she give you access to the property owner's backyard? She said it was under HOA authority. We had emergency powers. Did Mrs. Pettin or anyone else discuss sabotaging the pool equipment? Foster shifts uncomfortably. We talked about how he shouldn't have drained it. Linda said he needed to learn the pool wasn't his to control. Did you interpret that as permission to tamper with his property? No, I didn't touch anything. But someone did. I guess so. Iris shows him photos of the welded valve. Have you seen this type of work before? Foster goes pale. Yeah, I'm a welder. That's my work style. The room temperature drops about 20 degrees. Mr. Kimball, did you weld this valve? Long silence. I want a lawyer. The deposition ends. Foster gets hit with criminal charges for felony vandalism. He flips on Linda within 48 hours. Says she paid him $500 to make sure my pool couldn't be drained again without major work. Told him to do it at night and avoid the cameras. Linda's arrested at her apartment. Eugene calls me personally to apologize on behalf of the HOA. The board votes to pay my damages directly and terminate their legal defense of Linda. I get a check for $35,000 3 weeks later. Insurance covers it. Linda's facing 2 years in county jail and a $50,000 fine. Foster takes a plea deal. 6 months in restitution. He has to pay Jim's $3,000 directly. The criminal trial happens fast. Linda tries to claim she was protecting community resources. The prosecutor shows the jury photos of my flooded yard and plays the recording of Foster's deposition. Linda acted with deliberate malice to punish a homeowner who refused her illegal demands. This isn't community service. This is vandalism and extortion. The jury deliberates for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Linda gets 18 months, reduced from 2 years because she has no prior record. She has to pay full restitution, $35,000 plus legal fees. Her wages will be garnished for the next decade. I'm sitting in my backyard 6 months later. The pool is fixed. New equipment, new tile, fresh water. Foundation is solid. Yard looks better than it did before. Jim's over for a barbecue with his family. Kids are in the pool. His wife brought potato salad. Think Linda's out yet? Jim asks, flipping burgers. Another year to go. Think she learned anything? I doubt it. People like that never do. Eugene shows up with his wife, brings a pie. The new HOA president is a retired teacher named Vivian. She asks permission before entering my backyard. Compliments the pool. Doesn't carry a clipboard. I get a letter 3 weeks later. Linda's writing from county jail. 2 pages of small handwriting. She's sorry. She was stressed about her divorce and took it out on me. She was trying to feel important. She made mistakes. She hopes I can forgive her someday. I read it twice, then put it in my files. No response needed. She didn't sabotage my pool because she was stressed. She did it because she's the kind of person who thinks being president of an HOA gives her the right to control other people's property. The divorce she mentioned? I looked it up. Her ex-husband filed because she tried to take over his business finances the same way she tried to take over the neighborhood. Wanted to be CEO of his landscaping company despite never working there. He finally had enough. Pattern of behavior. That's what Iris called it. My water bill last month was $84. Normal. The cameras Linda installed got removed by court order. My fence is mine again. I'm skimming leaves on a Sunday morning when I hear my gate open. For a second, my blood pressure spikes. Then Jim walks in carrying a six-pack. "Thought you might want company," he says. We sit by the pool and don't talk about Linda. Don't need to. She's someone else's problem now. That's the thing about people who try to control everything. Eventually, they lose control of themselves. And when they do, the mess they make is nobody's fault but their own. I sleep well these days. The house is solid. The yard is green. The pool is mine. And nobody tells me what to do with it. Update 1. 3 months after Linda went to county jail, I thought this whole mess was over. Foundation fixed, yard restored, legal fees paid. I even stopped checking my security cameras obsessively. Then I got a letter from the state water board. It came on a Tuesday. Official letterhead. Said I was under investigation for deliberate water waste during a drought period. Someone filed a formal complaint claiming I drained and refilled my pool multiple times in violation of emergency conservation measures. I called Iris immediately. They're citing California Water Code Section 376, basically saying you wasted water during a declared shortage. But there was no declared shortage. Linda made that up. Apparently, someone provided documentation to the water board claiming otherwise. I'm getting the complaint file tomorrow. We'll see what we're dealing with. The complaint file arrived by courier. 60 pages. Photos of my empty pool. Copies of fake drought protocol documents. Witness statements from Linda's emergency response team claiming I drained my pool 3 separate times out of spite. Every single page was bullshit. But it was organized bullshit. Professional. The witness statements were the worst. Foster Kimball, despite pleading guilty to vandalizing my property, signed a statement saying I deliberately wasted water and encouraged others to do the same. A woman named Trish Haverman, who'd filled jugs from my pool during Linda's stunt, claimed I told her I didn't care about water conservation because I was rich enough to pay any fine. I never even spoke to her. Iris scheduled a meeting with the water board investigator. His name was Dale Portman, mid-40s, thinning hair, the kind of guy who probably ate the same lunch every day and liked it that way. Mr. Portman reviewed the evidence with us in a conference room that smelled like burnt coffee. He had the complaint file open in front of him. I had my rebuttal documents. "So you're claiming these witness statements are false?" Dale asked. "Completely. Foster Kimball is serving time for sabotaging my pool. He's not exactly credible. The conviction happened after these statements were signed. Because he destroyed my property on Linda Piton's orders. This is revenge." Dale made a note. "And Miss Haverman?" I showed him photos from the day Linda invaded my yard. There's Trish filling containers. I'm nowhere near her. I never spoke to her. Could have been off camera. My neighbor Jim witnessed the whole thing. Linda and her team forced their way into my yard without permission. I was inside calling the fire department. Dale flipped through more pages. "According to the complaint, you drained your pool 3 times between March and May. Once, March 15th, after Linda tried to commandeer it. Water company records show high usage in April and May too, because someone welded my fill valve open. That's documented in the police report." Dale read the police report, read it again, looked up at Iris. "Why would Mrs. Piton file this complaint if she's currently incarcerated for vandalizing his pool?" "Because she's vindictive," Iris said. "This complaint was filed 2 months ago, right before her trial. She knew she was going down and wanted to cause maximum damage on her way out." Dale closed the file. "I'll need to verify the timeline. If this complaint was filed maliciously, that's a separate issue." We left the meeting with no resolution. I asked Iris how worried I should be. Medium worried. The water board can levy fines up to $10,000 for conservation violations. Even if we prove Linda lied, you're still looking at legal fees to fight it. More money. Always more money. That night I went through my records again. Found something interesting. Linda had submitted photos of my empty pool dated April 3rd and April 29th, claiming those were separate drainings. But I checked my water bills. The spike in usage didn't start until April 10th. Whoever took those photos was lying about the dates. I texted Jim. "You remember anyone coming around my yard in April?" He called me back. "Yeah, actually, that woman with the clipboard. Linda. She was taking photos over your fence like 3 different times." I thought it was weird, but figured it was HOA stuff. You remember when? Mid-April, maybe? I was planting tomatoes, so probably second week. After the sabotage started, Linda was documenting the flooding she'd caused and claiming it was multiple drainings. I sent everything to Iris with a note. She's framing the destruction she caused as conservation violations I committed. The water board investigation dragged on. Dale requested more information. Interview with Jim. Interview with Foster's probation officer. Copy of Linda's criminal trial transcript. 6 weeks in, I got another letter. The water board was moving forward with formal charges. $7,500. Fine for repeat water waste violations during a conservation period. Iris filed an appeal immediately. We had a hearing scheduled in 3 months. The hearing was in Sacramento. Iris and I drove up together. She'd subpoenaed Foster Kimball to testify despite his plea deal. His lawyer wasn't happy, but the court ordered it. The hearing room was smaller than I expected. Dale Portman sat on a panel with 2 other water board members. Linda wasn't there, still in jail, but her lawyer showed up, a slick guy named Garrett Parrish, who specialized in administrative law. Garrett presented the complaint first, made it sound like I was some water-wasting villain who'd flouted conservation rules out of entitlement. He showed the photos Linda had taken, presented the witness statements, argued the water company records proved I'd used excessive water repeatedly. Then Iris stood up. She walked through the timeline methodically. Linda's fake emergency water reserve operation, my single pool draining, the sabotage, Foster's conviction, the welded valve, the camera footage gap. Linda Piton orchestrated a campaign of harassment against my client that culminated in felony property destruction. This complaint is part of that harassment. It was filed maliciously to continue punishing Mr. Holloway, even after Mrs. Piton was criminally charged. The board members looked uncomfortable. One of them, a woman named Janet Reese, asked Garrett a question. Was your client aware of the felony charges against her when she filed this complaint? Garrett hesitated. The charges were pending. Yes. So she knew she'd been accused of sabotaging the pool but filed a complaint accusing the victim of water waste anyway? Mrs. Piton maintains her innocence regarding the criminal charges. She pleaded guilty, Iris said, 2 months after filing this complaint. That set off 20 minutes of back and forth. Finally, Janet asked to see Foster Kimball. Foster looked rough. County jail hadn't been kind. He answered questions quietly at first. Yes, he'd welded the valve. Yes, Linda paid him. No, he didn't know it would cause that much damage. Then Iris asked about the witness statement he'd signed for Linda's water board complaint. Did Mrs. Piton ask you to sign that? Yes. When? Week before the sabotage came out. She said we needed to protect ourselves from his retaliation. But Mr. Holloway hadn't retaliated yet. No. Linda said he would, though. Said guys like him always do. What did she mean by guys like him? Rich guys who think they're better than everyone. Did you believe Mr. Holloway was rich? I mean, he had a pool. Lots of people have pools. Foster shrugged. Linda made him sound like a big deal. Said he had connections and would try to destroy us if we didn't get ahead of it. So, the witness statement was preemptive? I guess. Linda wrote most of it. I just signed. The room went quiet. Janet and the other board members were whispering to each other. We're dismissing this complaint, Janet finally said. Mr. Holloway, you're not being fined. Mrs. Piton's filing will be noted as frivolous. If she attempts any further complaints, they'll be dismissed without review. Garrett tried to argue, but Janet shut him down. We walked out 20 minutes later. I bought Iris dinner at an overpriced steakhouse near the Capitol. She ordered wine, raised her glass. To people who can't help themselves. We clinked glasses. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt tired. You think she's done? I asked. Linda? No. People like her never stop. They just find new targets. She's got another year in county, and she'll spend it thinking about how everyone wronged her, building up resentment, planning her next move. Against me? Maybe. Or maybe she'll find someone new to obsess over. I drove home that night thinking about Linda in her cell, writing letters, telling her story to whoever would listen, victim of a vindictive homeowner who'd turned the system against her, martyr for HOA presidents everywhere trying to do the right thing. Because that's how people like Linda work. They rewrite history until they're always the hero, always misunderstood, always persecuted for trying to help. 2 weeks after the hearing, Eugene called. Linda's lawyer had contacted the HOA about her presidency, claiming she'd been unfairly removed and demanding back pay. She's suing from jail? Garrett Parrish is. On contingency, probably. Figures the HOA will settle to avoid hassle. Will they? Hell no. We've got documentation of everything she did wrong. The board's voting to countersue for the insurance premiums we had to pay because of her. That made me smile. First time in a while. I got back to normal life. Fixed up the pool area with new furniture, planted some drought-resistant landscaping. Jim and I started a weekly barbecue tradition. Then one Saturday, Jim came over looking nervous. "What's wrong?" "Got a weird letter yesterday. From Linda." "She wrote you?" "Yeah, 3 pages, apologizing for everything, saying she was mentally unstable and didn't mean any harm, asking if I'd write a character letter for her parole hearing." "You're not actually considering it?" "Hell no. But it's weird, right? Why write me?" "Because you're a good guy who might feel bad for her." Jim crumpled the letter. "Well, she can go screw herself." I got my own letter 2 days later, 4 pages this time. Linda explaining how jail had given her perspective, how she realized she'd hurt people, how she was getting therapy and seeing things clearly now. The last page was different though, more honest maybe. "I lost everything because of you. My marriage, my job, my freedom. You couldn't just let me have one small victory with the pool. You had to humiliate me in front of everyone, make me look like a fool. Yes, I made mistakes, but you made sure everyone knew about them. You destroyed my life just like I tried to destroy your pool. So maybe we're even now. Maybe you can let it go." I read it 3 times. She still didn't get it. Still thought this was about ego and victory. Couldn't see that she'd brought everything on herself. I didn't respond. Threw the letter away and forgot about it. Until I couldn't. Update 2. Linda got out of county jail early. Good behavior. 13 months instead of 18. I didn't know until she showed up at my door. It was a Thursday afternoon. I'd taken the day off to refinish my deck. Had just cracked open a beer when the doorbell rang. She looked different. Thinner, hair grayer, no safety vest, just jeans and a plain t-shirt. "I'm not here to cause trouble," Linda said through the screen door. "I just want to talk. We have nothing to discuss. Please, 5 minutes, then I'll leave forever." Against my better judgment, I stepped onto the porch, closed the door behind me, kept my phone in my pocket, recording. "I've been in therapy," Linda started. "Court mandated, but I kept going after. I'm diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder and obsessive-compulsive tendencies. I'm on medication now. Okay, I need to make amends. That's part of my recovery. I hurt you. I hurt Jim. I hurt a lot of people. You destroyed my property and tried to frame me for water waste. I know. I was wrong. I let the HOA presidency go to my head. Started thinking I had power I didn't actually have. You sabotaged my pool because I wouldn't let you commandeer it." Linda's face tightened. "Foster sabotaged your pool. On your orders. For money. I gave him money to help with his bills. What he did with it was his choice. And there it was. The therapy hadn't fixed anything. She was still rewriting history. Still dodging responsibility. We're done here," I said. "Stay away from my property. I'm living with my sister now. Other side of town. I'm not trying to move back here." "Good. But I need you to write a statement for me. For my probation officer. Saying I've apologized and we've moved past this. Not happening. Just a paragraph. I need to show I'm making restitution. You haven't made restitution. You haven't paid me anything. The HOA insurance did. I've lost everything. You earned everything you lost." Linda's mask cracked. Her voice went cold. "You know what your problem is? You can't forgive. You hold grudges. That's why you're alone. I'm not alone. I've seen you. Just you and Jim out here grilling. No wife, no girlfriend. You pushed away anyone who might actually care about you because you're too busy being right. Get off my property. You think you won? You think destroying my life makes you a good person? I didn't destroy your life, Linda. You destroyed it. I just refused to let you destroy mine." She stood there for another 10 seconds, then walked to her car, an old Honda with a dented bumper. She'd driven a new Lexus before jail. From my deck, I watched her sit in the driver's seat for 5 minutes, staring at my house. Finally, she drove away. I called Iris and told her about the visit. She filed a restraining order petition the same day. Linda contested it. We had a hearing 2 weeks later. The judge was a tired-looking woman named Patricia Osman. She read through both our statements without expression. "Mrs. Piton, you served 13 months for vandalizing Mr. Holloway's property. Now you're at his home asking him to help you with probation? I was making amends, Your Honor. That's part of my recovery program. Making amends doesn't require the victim's participation. You could have written a letter." "I did." He didn't respond. "Because he's not obligated to forgive you." Linda's lawyer tried to argue, but Judge Osman cut him off. The restraining order was granted, 500 feet. No contact for 2 years. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. The HOA started having problems. Small things at first. Community pool gate found open overnight. Mailboxes knocked over. Graffiti on the clubhouse. Eugene thought it was teenagers. Installed more cameras. The vandalism continued, but the cameras never caught anyone. Then Jim's sprinkler system got destroyed. Someone broke every sprinkler head in his front yard. Cost him $800 to fix. We compared notes. My pool equipment had been tampered with twice. Not sabotaged like before, just little things. Pump timer, reset, chemical feeder unplugged. Nothing that caused damage, but enough to be annoying. You think it's her? Jim asked. I don't know. Could be. Dude, she's on probation. Why would she risk it? Because people like Linda can't help themselves. I installed more cameras, motion sensors, a new security system that alerted my phone to any movement in the backyard. 3 nights later, I got an alert at 2 a.m. Someone in my yard. I pulled up the camera feed on my phone. A figure in dark clothes and a ski mask was standing by my pool equipment. They had bolt cutters. I called 911 and grabbed my baseball bat. Went out the back door as quietly as I could. The figure was bent over my pool pump trying to cut the lock. Police are on the way, I shouted. Put down the bolt cutters. The figure spun around, dropped the cutters and ran for the fence. They were fast. Cleared the fence before I got close enough to see anything identifying. 2 patrol cars arrived 4 minutes later. Officers searched the neighborhood but found nothing. They collected the bolt cutters for fingerprints. You get any footage? The officer asked. Yeah, sending it to you now. They reviewed the video. The person was careful. No skin showing, gloves, mask, average height and build, could be anyone. You think you know who this is? I gave them Linda's information, her conviction, the restraining order, the recent incidents around the neighborhood. We'll follow up, the officer said. But without more evidence, there's not much we can do. The fingerprints on the bolt cutters came back clean, wiped down. Eugene called an emergency HOA meeting. 20 homeowners showed up, everyone nervous about the vandalism. We need to hire private security, someone suggested. That's expensive, Eugene said. We're looking at $200 a month per household. People grumbled, but most agreed. The security company started patrols the following week. 2 guards, rotating shifts, covering the neighborhood from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The vandalism stopped immediately. For a month, everything was quiet. Then I got a letter from Linda's probation officer. She was requesting an early end to probation. Had completed all requirements, held a job for 3 months, passed all drug tests. The probation officer wanted my input as the victim. Did I support early termination? I wrote 3 pages explaining why I didn't. The vandalism, the restraining order violation attempt, her complete lack of genuine remorse. 2 weeks later, I got a response. Linda's probation was being extended by 6 months. She'd been called in for a meeting about the vandalism and admitted she'd driven past my house multiple times in violation of the restraining order. She claimed she was visiting a friend nearby, but she couldn't explain why she'd driven past 14 times in 1 month based on toll records her probation officer pulled. The neighborhood incidents continued sporadically. More graffiti, someone slashed 2 car tires, a brick through Eugene's front window. The security company caught nothing. Whoever it was knew the guard schedule and worked around it. Jim installed a camera system that covered his whole property. Cost him $1,200. I upgraded mine too. Between us, we had 20 cameras covering most of the block. Then we got lucky. Jim's camera caught someone in his driveway at 3 a.m. They were wearing dark clothes and a mask, but this time they got out of a car. An old Honda with a dented bumper. We ran the plates. Registered to Linda Paton's sister. Jim and I took the footage to the police. Filed a formal report. Linda's probation officer got involved. They searched Linda's sister's house with a warrant. Found spray paint matching the graffiti, a bag of bolt cutters, ski masks, and a notebook full of plans for more vandalism. Linda wasn't there. She'd moved out 2 weeks earlier after an argument with her sister. The sister gave police Linda's new address, an extended stay motel near the highway. Police found her there, arrested her for violating probation, vandalism, and breach of the restraining order. This time, she got 3 years in state prison. No early release. No therapy excuse. At the sentencing hearing, Linda's lawyer tried to argue she was mentally ill and needed treatment, not prison. The prosecutor showed the judge the notebook, detailed plans to slash tires, break windows, poison lawns, escalating to burning down my house eventually. Your Honor, this isn't a cry for help. This is premeditated harassment with intent to cause serious harm, Judge Osman agreed. 3 years. No parole eligibility until she served at least 2. Linda turned around as they let her out, stared at me with dead eyes, mouthed something I couldn't hear. Probably didn't want to. After the sentencing, Eugene bought me and Jim dinner. Nice steakhouse, his treat. You know she's never going to stop, Eugene said. Even after prison, she'll come back. Maybe, I said, but I'll be ready. The neighborhood calmed down after that. Security patrols stayed in place. People kept their cameras. Jim and I compared footage weekly to stay aware of any suspicious activity. 6 months later, Linda's sister came to my door. Different from Linda, apologetic, and obviously embarrassed. I'm sorry about what my sister did. I had no idea she was using my car. It's not your fault. She's sick. Our parents were really hard on her growing up. Nothing was ever good enough. I think she spent her whole life trying to prove she's in control. That's not an excuse for what she did. I know, I'm not excusing it, just explaining. She needs help she's never going to accept. The sister moved away 3 months later, sold her house and left no forwarding address. I didn't blame her. I still check my cameras every morning, still keep the security system armed, still watch for old Hondas with dented bumpers. Jim says I should move, get away from the neighborhood and all the memories, start fresh somewhere Linda doesn't know. But this is my house, my property. I worked hard for it. I'm not letting Linda or anyone else drive me away. Some people think I'm paranoid. Maybe I am. But I also have a pool that works, a foundation that's solid, and neighbors who actually look out for each other now. Linda's in prison because of what she chose to do. Not because I made her. Not because I failed to forgive her. Because she couldn't accept that she wasn't in charge of other people's lives. And when she gets out in 2 years, I'll deal with it then. Until then, I'm going to swim in my pool, grill with my friend, and live my life on my terms. That's what winning actually looks like. Update 3. Linda got out 16 months into her 3-year sentence. Overcrowding, good behavior credits. The system doesn't work the way it should. I found out from Eugene. He got a notification as HOA president because Linda had requested permission to visit the neighborhood to meet with her former neighbors for closure. Permission denied, obviously. But the fact that she'd asked meant she was thinking about this place again. I called her probation officer, a new guy named Marcus I'd never dealt with. He sounded annoyed when I explained the history. Mrs. Piton isn't allowed within 1,000 feet of your property per the restraining order. If she violates it, call the police immediately. She's violated it before. That's noted in her file. Any further violation will result in reincarceration. Will it, though? Because she got out early after planning to burn down my house. Sir, I understand your concerns, but I can't keep someone locked up based on what they might do. Even when they've written down exactly what they might do? Marcus went quiet. Then he said, keep your cameras running. Document everything. If she comes near you, I want to know immediately. That was all I was going to get. Jim had sold his house by then, moved 2 towns over, told me he'd had enough of the neighborhood drama and wanted a fresh start. His replacement was a young couple with a baby. Nice people. I didn't tell them about Linda. Didn't seem fair to burden them with it. 3 weeks after Linda's release, I was at the grocery store when I saw her. She was in the produce section, examining avocados like a normal person. Our eyes met. She smiled. Not a friendly smile. Something else. Then she went back to shopping. I finished my groceries and left. Sat in my car for 10 minutes trying to decide if I should call Marcus. Seeing her wasn't a violation. She was allowed to grocery shop. I had no proof she knew I'd be there. But the smile. That smile said she'd been waiting for me. The next week I saw her again. At the gas station. She was 3 pumps over, filling up an ancient Toyota that wasn't the Honda from before. She waved when she saw me. Friendly, casual, like we were old neighbors catching up. I called Marcus. He pulled her in for a meeting. She claimed she was just living her life and it was a small town. Sometimes people run into each other. She wasn't violating anything. The 3rd time was at the hardware store. I was buying pool chemicals. She was in the same aisle, looking at pH test strips. Excuse me, she said. You know which of these is better? I walked away without responding. She called after me. I'm just trying to learn about pool maintenance. That's not against the law. I reported it. Marcus was more concerned this time. 3 encounters in 3 weeks is a pattern. I'm documenting this. If she makes contact again, call 911 first, then me. But she didn't make contact. She just appeared. At the bank, at the post office, at the coffee shop near my office. Always at a distance. Always with plausible deniability. Always with that smile. Eugene suggested I file for a stronger restraining order. We met with Iris, who reviewed the incidents. It's a gray area, she said. She's not technically violating the current order. She's not within 1,000 feet of your property. She's not contacting you directly. But she's clearly engaging in a pattern of harassment. Can we prove that? Not to a criminal standard. But we might be able to get a civil stalking order that covers more territory. How much territory? Iris pulled up a map. We can request that she maintain distance from your home, workplace, and regular frequented locations. Gas station, grocery store, gym if you have one. I don't use a gym. Then we list the places she's been showing up. Make them off limits. We filed the petition. The hearing was set for 3 weeks out. In the meantime, Linda kept appearing. Always just outside the legal boundary. Always with an excuse. I started documenting everything. Photos from a distance, timestamps, locations. Jim helped me create a spreadsheet tracking her movements. Pattern emerged. She was rotating through about 8 locations, showing up when she knew I'd likely be there based on my routine. How does she know your routine? Jim asked. I don't know. Maybe she's watching my house from somewhere outside the restraining order distance. We drove around the neighborhood looking for vantage points. Found one. A parking lot behind a medical building about 1,100 feet from my house. Perfect view of my driveway. I set up a camera pointing at that parking lot. 3 days later, it captured Linda's Toyota parked there for 2 hours. She was sitting in the driver's seat, watching. More evidence for the hearing. Judge Osman presided again. She looked even more tired than last time. Read through all the documentation without comment. Mrs. Peaton, you've been spotted at multiple locations where Mr. Holloway regularly appears. You've parked within view of his home. You've smiled and waved at him despite a restraining order. What's your explanation? Linda's new lawyer, a woman named Patricia Vance, stood up. Your Honor, my client is a citizen of this community trying to rebuild her life. She can't be held responsible for coincidental encounters in public spaces. 12 encounters in 5 weeks isn't coincidence, Iris countered. She's surveilling him and deliberately crossing his path. My client has provided documentation of legitimate reasons for being at each location. She banks at that branch. She shops at that grocery store. She's allowed to live her life. Judge Osman turned to Linda. Why were you parked behind the medical building watching Mr. Holloway's house? I wasn't watching his house. I was waiting for a telehealth appointment with my therapist. I need good cell reception, and that parking lot has it. For 2 hours? The appointment was delayed. Then I made some phone calls. Judge Osman didn't look convinced. The stalking order was granted but limited. Linda had to stay away from my home, my workplace, and 5 specific locations we'd identified. But she could still frequent the town generally. Better than nothing. Not as good as I needed. The encounters stopped after that. For about a month. Then they changed tactics. I started getting phone calls from unknown numbers. No one on the other end. Just silence. Then they'd hang up. 5 a day, then 10, then 20. My work email got subscribed to hundreds of spam lists. Insurance quotes, mortgage refinancing, penis enlargement pills. My inbox was unusable. Someone left a dead bird on my doorstep. Then another. Then a third. No cameras caught anyone. The calls came from spoofed numbers that couldn't be traced. The dead birds appeared overnight when the security guards weren't looking. I reported everything, but without proof it was Linda, there was nothing the police could do. Then I got smart. Or maybe desperate. I hired a private investigator named Ray Delgado. Former cop, current surveillance specialist. I paid him $3,000 to follow Linda for 2 weeks. Ray got everything. Photos of Linda buying burner phones at different stores. Video of her sitting in library parking lots making calls. Footage of her walking through my neighborhood at 4 a.m., staying just outside the restraining order boundary, throwing something into my yard. The dead birds. Ray compiled it into a 40-page report with timestamps, photos, and GPS data. Took it straight to Marcus, who immediately violated Linda's probation. She was back in custody within 24 hours. The probation violation hearing was fast. Ray testified about what he'd observed. Iris presented the report. Linda's lawyer tried to argue it was circumstantial, but the evidence was overwhelming. Judge Osman revoked Linda's probation entirely. She had to serve the remaining 1.5 years of her original sentence, plus an additional 2 years for the probation violations. 3.5 years, minimum. No early release possible this time. As they led her away, Linda finally broke. Started screaming how I'd ruined her life, how I was obsessed with destroying her, how she'd never done anything wrong and I was the real criminal. The bailiffs had to physically drag her out while she shrieked threats about what she'd do when she got out. Judge Osman looked at me after the courtroom cleared. Mr. Holloway, I'm going to be frank with you. This woman is dangerous. When she gets out in 3.5 years, you need to be prepared for her to escalate. Escalate how? She's obsessed with you. Obsessed with proving she was right. People like that don't respond to punishment. They just get angrier. What do you suggest? Move. Change your name. Make yourself impossible for her to find. I'm not running from her. Then invest in very good security, because she will come back. I left the courthouse thinking about Judge Osman's warning, wondering if she was right, wondering if I should just sell the house and disappear. But that would mean Linda won. That would mean she'd successfully driven me away from my own life. I went home and looked at my pool, my yard, my house, everything I'd fought to keep. I'm not leaving. I upgraded my security system again, added more cameras, installed reinforced locks, got a German shepherd named Atticus who barked at everything. Jim thought I was becoming paranoid. Maybe I was. But paranoia keeps you alive when someone's written out detailed plans to burn down your house. Eugene retired as HOA president. The new president was a lawyer named Vivian, who took security seriously. She increased patrols, added more lighting, created a neighborhood watch program. The community actually came together after everything with Linda. People looked out for each other. reported suspicious activity, built real relationships instead of just waving from driveways. Linda had wanted to control the neighborhood. Instead, she'd united it against her. That was 3 years ago now. Linda's still in prison. She's filed multiple appeals, all denied. Her release date is 8 months away. I know because Marcus calls me every few months with updates. Tells me Linda's behaving in prison but refusing therapy, insisting she's the victim, planning her life for when she gets out. You're still on her mind, Marcus said during our last call. She talks about you to her cellmate, about how you conspired against her, how you'll pay eventually. Has she made specific threats? Nothing actionable, but the obsession hasn't faded. I've prepared as much as I can, updated my will, made sure my security system is maintained, trained Atticus to be protective but not aggressive, built relationships with my neighbors so someone will notice if something's wrong. I even took some self-defense classes, learned how to handle myself if Linda shows up with more than angry words. Some days I wonder if Judge Osmond was right, if I should have just moved and started over somewhere. Linda couldn't find me, but I've lived here for 12 years. This is my home. I shouldn't have to run because one person can't accept boundaries. Jim still thinks I'm crazy for staying. We video chat every few weeks. He's happy in his new town. No drama, no looking over his shoulder, no wondering when the next shoe will drop. But he also admits his new neighborhood is sterile. People keep to themselves. No one knows anyone. It's safe, but lonely. I've got Eugene next door, Vivian down the street, the young couple with the toddler who wave when they see me, Atticus sleeping by the back door. It's not perfect. I still check my cameras every morning, still watch for unfamiliar cars, still wonder what Linda's doing in her cell, but it's mine. And when Linda gets out in 8 months, I'll deal with it. I've got cameras, security, a dog, a lawyer on speed dial, a community that knows what she looks like and what she's done.